Well, here we are again for another Flirtini. It is a new week. Hello to you, the Flirty, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Let us take a collective deep breath together. Inhale through the nose, hold it in, another sip of air at the top, getting really full, and exhale through the mouth, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing the brow. The tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. Here we are, grounding down into this moment, into this experience, as we talk about FOMO, or the fear of missing out, FOMO, in dating and also in life. Okay, in this Flirtini, we're going to be talking about what FOMO is, why it is perhaps a relatively new phenomenon, the ways it shows up in dating, and what you can do about it when you're experiencing FOMO, how you can start to move out of this space and into, let's say, more of a space that's about abundance, because FOMO is really about, in many ways, a scarcity mindset. And so, how can we shift out of that? How can we shift out of a scarcity mindset into a mindset of abundance? Oh my goodness. Okay. FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is really about you perceiving that something is lacking in your life, that something is missing. And it is also rooted in comparison. Maybe you've heard this phrase, very popular. I've said it before, that comparison is the thief of joy. And so, what happens when you're experiencing FOMO, the fear of missing out, where you are right here, right now, in this moment today, and where you want to be? Or maybe FOMO is highlighting the thing you want to have but don't. So, in dating, it could be the relationship, or maybe you're in a relationship and it's a little bit rocky, or you feel like they're pulling away a little bit, or something's just a little bit askew. And so you see couples that you perceive as being really happy, having it all together, and fear of missing out. I want what they have. Why can't I have that thing? Why can't I be like them? And so FOMO is about this gap between where you are today, the experiences you're having, and where you want to be. And in this space you can feel a lot of anxiety, you can feel a lot of sadness, you can feel some despair, some grief, some anger, some relatively low vibration emotions that make it difficult to stay present and really appreciate and be grateful for what you have. So, is this a relatively new phenomenon? I think to a certain extent, it has existed in some form or fashion throughout human history, but it has absolutely been amplified. Like, the magnifying glass on FOMO is right there because of social media. Of course, going back to this theme of comparing yourself to others, if that is part of your experience of FOMO, which it probably is, you see the thing on social media, the couple, the person, the whatever, they're traveling the world, or the person that has more money, or the person that has the thing, something that you maybe wish you had, you long for, or you feel like you should have, right? You're working really hard, you're a good person. Why isn't this happening for me? Why can't I have that thing, XYZ, whatever? And so social media is really, yes, putting quite the spotlight on the experience of FOMO, because you're able to expose yourself to this feeling incessantly. If you're scrolling, right, you might find yourself comparing yourself to other people a lot. And also, this pressure that we can feel from our societies, from our cultures, from our religions, right? The different systems in which we live, operate, and date. Just as an example, here in the US where I live, where I'm recording flirtations and this flirtini, we are very much about, right, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, the American dream. We very much focus on hyper independence in many ways. I don't need help, right? I can do it all myself. Just do it, work harder, hustle, grind, right? We're very much, addicted in some ways to our achievements as being the markers for success, what we have, what we own, our grades, our money. We're really driven by external validation in many ways. Things, consumerism, possessions, yes, not inherently bad or good, but just highlighting that our systems in which we live and date can also bring about this experience of FOMO. Okay, we're going to go a little bit deeper here. with FOMO, before, oh God, puberty much, before we get into some strategies and some actual tangible actions you can take to move through FOMO. So, talked about FOMO being really rooted in that scarcity mindset where you're comparing yourself to other people, to what you're seeing perhaps online or even in the movies, other forms of media. You may be experiencing or feeling some pressure, right, to have the relationship, right? If you're single, maybe in your 30s or 40s, or heck, even younger, and you're getting the question from family, from friends, why are you still single, right? What's wrong? Don't you want a relationship? This can highlight and spotlight even more this experience of FOMO that we're having, really being about the fear of missing out, that something overall is missing in our life. And if I had that thing, if I had the partner, if I had the love, if I had the relationship, if I had the car, if I had the job, right? Whatever it is, everything would be fine. All my problems would disappear. I would just be happy as a clam, there, snug as a bug in my little clam shell, making pearls or whatever. Oh no, that's oysters. That's oysters. Clams are good for linguine. But back to this Flirtini. Okay, so some ways FOMO shows up in dating. I'm going to highlight a few of the main ways here that I see. And in doing some of the flirt search, talking to you all, this is what you all shared. FOMO, ironically, or not so ironically, shows up as, or can show up as fear, where you have a fear of committing to someone, a fear of settling down, becoming exclusive, entering into a partnership, relationship formally because fear of missing out. What if grass is greener on the other side? What if, ooh, this isn't the one? Ooh, what if, something out there, someone out there is better for me? So, FOMO can have you experiencing this fear, which ironically prevents you from having, manifesting, attracting, calling into your life the thing, the relationship for the purposes of this Flirtini, probably the love overall that you want. It also, of course, talked about this just a few moments ago, can create a lot of anxiety as you're in this space of, I kind of call it the gap between where you are today and sort of envisioning this future version of yourself, your dream life, whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you. And you can feel this pressure. Yes, talked about that, but this rush, right? This kind of fixation to make it happen. And in this space where you might feel maybe claustrophobic, like you don't have a lot of options, like you're sort of out of control a little bit, the anxiety can spiral. So FOMO can certainly create a lot of anxiety where you're trying to make the thing happen. You want it now. You're looking for instant gratification. And so then with that, you might gravitate toward some validation, which isn't inherently bad, right? We all love validation, but it's if you're deriving your sense of purpose, your worth, your confidence from constantly needing to be validated by others, well, you know, maybe a different Flirtini, but there's something to work at there. And also in the space of anxiety, you might act out of emotion a lot, where everything just feels magnified, right? So the match that doesn't turn into a date, or the person that ghosts you, or the person that starts to pull away and then you start chasing a little bit. It's like this fear of missing out feels like every opportunity is just your last one, right? Like it's really about reinforcing this scarcity mindset that, oh, it didn't work out, it's not going to work out for me again. And then you're comparing yourself, and here we go. The loop continues. Finally, I know we've talked about it kind of a lot, a little bit, yes, here in this Flirtini, where FOMO in dating really causes this constant comparison, right? Where you're comparing yourself to other people that are perhaps in your life, acquaintances, friends, coworkers, neighbors, people in your social circles, and of course, people you're going to see online, the couples, the relationships, the movies, all the things. All right. So this is yes, what FOMO is. I think we've talked about that. I think we've talked about the ways it shows up in your dating lives and some of the mindset habits that accompany FOMO. Some of the psychological things that happen, yes, when you're in that fear of missing out mindset. So now some solutions. What can you do? Some strategies when you are experiencing, having, feeling the FOMO. All right, we're going to get this one out of the way right away because I know it's going to be, look, it's going to sound really cliche. but one of these strategies to move out of FOMO is to practice gratitude, to practice appreciation. And that can be certainly for yourself, for the people in your life, for the experiences that you've had, for the things that you do have, that you have worked for and earned. And it's just so the point of this gratitude and appreciation is about being satisfied with what is and accepting what is exactly here in the present moment. So going back to that gap between where you are today and maybe where you want to be, it doesn't seem so huge, as if you're looking across this giant valley with no path through, with no stairs or a bridge or, I don't know, a jetpack to help lift you over the valley, right? To get to the other side. Ultimately, it's about the journey, and practicing gratitude and appreciation brings you back to the present moment. So you're not constantly seeking, searching outside of yourself for the validation, for the satisfaction, for the thing that is going to somehow fulfill you, make you complete in, yes, within yourself, because a lot of that is created from within, right? So appreciate, be grateful for what you do have. It doesn't mean you're settling. It doesn't mean you can't want more, that you can't deserve more, that you don't want to bring about maybe significant change in your life. It's just about, okay, I accept what is, but I don't have to accept what is today forever. And I actually have a lot of control and autonomy over what happens in my life. But if I'm living with this scarcity mindset that, right, opportunities are limited, I'm constantly comparing myself, I'm looking for external validation all the time, I'm anxious, I'm fearful, you're going to stay in this FOMO limited mindset, maybe longer than you would like. Okay, more solutions coming up. I want to offer you this solution here, which is relatively straightforward, and that is about attaching a simple three-letter word to the end of your statements. And that three-letter word is yet. So let's say you're single, right? You're scrolling online, you see the happy couple, or maybe you're the friend and all your friends, right? Your cousins, your siblings are getting married and you're the single one. Lord, if that ain't me, and you're thinking to yourself, "Ugh, I'm never going to have the relationship. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to find the love I'm looking for yet. I don't have the relationship yet. I maybe don't have that romantic love I'm seeking, I'm searching for yet." And then coming back to the present moment, right? Using some of the gratitude, yes, appreciation practices. I don't have the relationship yet, but I'm working on myself and I feel good in this moment. I don't have the relationship yet, but I'm putting myself out there. And this weekend, I'm going out with friends and I'm going to flirt with one person. I don't have the relationship yet, but I see how far I've come and how much more love I have for myself than I did even yesterday. So there you go. Another strategy here. And also, this serves to bring you out of this scarcity FOMO mindset into one of more abundance, of limitlessness, of opportunities, of saying yes, and starting to, with this, aligning your energy, your vibration, your frequencies to those higher vibrating feelings and emotions, right? Which that's how you become the attractor. That's how you attract in to your life, call into your life what's meant for you, right? This is, yeah, all part of it. Okay, a little bit more coming up. A few more strategies here. One can be around boundaries. So if you need to limit your scroll time, if you need to unfollow accounts, if you need to block people, do it. Do it. Like you can really, in many ways, cultivate the experience online that you're looking to have. I also think journaling can be super, super helpful here. If you are into journaling or you want to try it for the first time, pick it back up as maybe a new habit. If you have some experience or knowledge of morning pages, yes, check that out. I'll have it linked in the show notes here for this episode, but really good way just to get your Mm, establishing some boundaries, and then it's going to be about getting those thoughts out, getting those feelings out, getting those emotions out so you don't hold it all in. Do you need to record voice notes for yourself? Do that. Do you need to keep, I used to do this, just keep a stack of post-its or sticky notes with me, and I would just have like a quick thought, just something I needed to get out, just write it down on a post-it, and then I had just a blank notebook, it's yeah, like you would use for school, and I would put all of these post-its in the notebook, and it just became a thought journal, a way for me to, yeah, start to work through my thoughts and feelings that wasn't, sitting down and feeling like, oh, I'm going to write this whole journal entry, because I know sometimes we might feel some pressure, some anxiety even about that process. So make it accessible to you. My question here back to you is, what are some ways just to get those thoughts out? Do you need to go for a walk and listen to a podcast, listen to some of your favorite music, or put on an audiobook, something like that? So even if you're not necessarily like writing or voicing out your thoughts and feelings, calling a friend, right? Coming to one of my lives, commenting on the podcast episode here, it's going to be about moving through, getting some of this energy out so it doesn't become stuck and then internalized, because your body will hold on to it. And here we go, just sort of amplifying that FOMO, scarcity mindset spiral even more. All right. I wanted to offer you a couple alternatives here to the FOMO acronym, fear of missing out, that I think have somewhat, caught on, if you live chronically online like me, or maybe you've seen them in articles. Yeah. And so one here is JOMO, which I've seen, which is the joy of missing out. So this is about finding joy in that Friday night, Saturday night when you're at home in your PJs, curled up with a warm drink, right? You got your favorite meal, some macaroni and cheese and a cheer wine for me, and I'm streaming Sex in the City. Finding joy in that and finding that appreciation, gratitude for, oh my gosh, this is, you know what? I'm going to love on myself. I'm going to do something I really like and that I enjoy. It doesn't mean that I'm missing out, that my life is happening outside of this experience, that I should be, could be doing something else. I'm choosing to do exactly this, and I'm going to find appreciation in that. So finding the joy in quote unquote missing out too may be a reframe that is helpful. Another one that I've heard is FOGI. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is the fear of joining in. And so this is, maybe you are going to, let's say, a networking event, a party, and you're sort of, maybe more introverted, or you're having some social anxiety. All good, all good. But this fear of joining in, this fear of putting yourself out there, this fear of catching a flirt, this fear of offering a compliment, because what if it's not received? What if it's not received in the exact way that I want it to? Or what if the other person doesn't flirt back, if it was a flirt you're going for? And so going back to this, yes, theme of fear that has come up in this Flirtini a few times, this fear of putting yourself out there and already in some ways rejecting yourself before the experience even happens. Well, what if, let's play with what if you did join in? What if you did congratulate yourself? Show appreciation for yourself that I did something that, maybe the me of yesterday wouldn't have done, but the me of today did. And then here we go, walking through that valley, or maybe we're starting to build the bridge or assemble the jetpack, or, place one plank of the set of stairs to take us down there through our journey, one step at a time. No step is too small. It's about consistent action, not necessarily day in and day out, but over time, showing that consistency that you can do the thing, which is really putting yourself out there, making those connections, and then loving yourself through it all, so you can shift out of FOMO, scarcity mindset, into one of abundance, into one of gratitude, appreciation, love, joy, of flirt energy. Yeah, yeah. Okay, how are we feeling, flirties? What are you thinking? I'm going to wrap up this flirtini here next. Flirty, thank you so much for listening to this Flirtini, all about FOMO. I hope it was helpful. I hope it maybe brought about a new level of awareness, or brought a new idea to you, a new strategy, highlighted, gave you some self awareness into some of your own behaviors and actions, wherever you may be in this space of FOMO. Maybe you're like, ooh, deeply in it. Maybe you're on your way out. Maybe you're in and out. It's all good. We all experience FOMO, this fear of missing out, because it's human nature in many ways to compare ourselves, to feel like sometimes we're not good enough, or if we're working really, really hard towards something and we're not seeing the results of our actions, right? Is it meant for me? Do I even deserve this? What if it never happens? And so yes, it's natural to slip from FOMO into the scarcity mindset, and it's okay. It's okay if you find yourself there. I find myself there. We all do. We all do. It's about how we can develop these practices to shift ourselves out of that state into more of a mindset of abundance, opportunity, right? Really vibrating in that energy, vibrating in that frequency, and not judging ourselves for experiencing FOMO, not criticizing ourselves or making ourselves feel bad for having a very human experience in a world that is incredibly challenging. So give yourself all of the grace, all the compassion, all the love, that you are exactly where you need to be. Listening to this Flirtini, of course, you're exactly where you need to be. Take it all in. Yes. Thank you so, so much for listening. Flirty. We sign off abruptly here with the Flirtinis. Please share this with a friend. Rate, review the show if you haven't already. It helps me so much to grow the show, bring on amazing guests so I can continue to do that and deliver just the highest quality podcast, Flirtcast, I possibly can, because I want to and you deserve it. And I love you. Flirty. Happy flirting.